Watching this video, you'll understand how the condenser works and common reasons for failure. We'll also look at main condenser styles in the market and interrelated parts that may need to be replaced when the condenser fails. To conclude the training module, we'll give you a quick cheat sheet to keep in mind when replacing or ordering a condenser for your customer. The condenser is what is out in front of the radiator. It's a heat exchanger for your refrigerant. You have high pressure vapor coming from the compressor into the condenser. This is where your refrigerant goes from a vapor, condenses to a liquid, and it comes out of the condenser. There's three major types of condensers that you'll come across working on the AC system. The old style, which was mostly found in R12 systems, is the Serpentine style, and you just had 1 to 2 larger diameter tubes. The first design of a more efficient condenser was the piccolo style. When we started using R134 in the mid-90s, it had to actually run at a higher pressure, so we needed a more efficient condenser. You actually had smaller tubes, but you had more, so you were actually getting a little bit more efficiency. Most condensers on today's vehicles are parallel flow style condensers. You can use less refrigerant in these. You can actually have a smaller condenser than the old style, but still get the same efficiency. You have refrigerant flowing through one section, it can drop down, flow through another section, and you can have 3 to 4 passes before the refrigerant actually leaves the condenser. There's very small passages, smaller than a pinhead, that the refrigerant actually has to flow through. You may have 10 to 15 tubes per inch that the refrigerant has to go through. So you can imagine any particles in the system, any metal shavings from a failed compressor, you cannot flush it, you just need to go ahead and replace it. A lot of times you'll see in the catalog a note that says dryer not serviceable, and that just means that the dryer is made into the condenser. If you have a aftermarket condenser and you need to change the dryer bag for whatever reason, you're probably just going to go ahead and have to replace the condenser again. So one issue that my sales team would run into is that sometimes we would get a customer call for a dryer. One that comes to mind is the newer Ford F-Series pickups. We would send out a dryer, wouldn't be the correct one, and what we found out is the condenser that was already in the system that they were working on had already been changed. It was an aftermarket condenser. If you buy a dryer bag for a vehicle, looking up the application, you're going to get the OE style dryer bag replacement. If you have a aftermarket condenser and you need to change the dryer bag for whatever reason, you're probably just going to go ahead and have to replace the condenser again. Now when you get a new condenser, if you're putting it on a vehicle, say mid-90s and older, more than likely you're going to be replacing either a piccolo style or the old Serpentine style condenser. And just make note that the new condenser will usually require less refrigerant. You're actually going to have less volume of refrigerant through the condenser, but you have more surface area. So it's going to be a more efficient condenser, but you're probably going to have to lower your amount of refrigerant in the system. Most of the time now it's just a good idea to go ahead and change the condenser when you are replacing the compressor. Depending on what happened to the compressor, if you have any debris, any metal shavings, burnt oil, anything like that in the system, it's all trapped inside the condenser. New types of condensers cannot be flushed. They have to be replaced. If you don't replace them, you're going to have high head pressure in the system, and if you don't have immediate failure, you're going to have premature failure of the brand new compressor.